you so much. This is wonderful. Thank you, Jackie.
Sure. Hi. I appreciate you coming, or you're going to view this recording later. And the Global Maker Day is such a good idea because we're living in such an amazing time. So I'm just going to share with you some insights I have in terms of having a mindset of the maker educator. A little bit about me is my byline is I don't do teaching for a living. I live teaching as my doing, and technology has amplified my passion for doing so. And I'm very active on social media. And as I was just telling Jamie, we're living in amazing times because teachers love to share, and it really, the act of giving and sharing resources makes us all better educators. And as you can see there, it really serves our kids to be in we need a different educational environments, and ones that are so active. And that's why I just love Maker Ed. So being a mindset is also some of your values as an educator. So this idea of, I come from a background of experiential education, so I came from a different avenue. So making has always been part of who I am and what I do. And these are just some of my values in a classroom. I've taught 3rd through 5th gifted kids. In the summer, I run Maker Ed camps for 5 to 10-year-olds, and I teach teachers. And regardless of the environment I'm teaching in, I really try to keep hands-on, active, controlled chaos. As you could see, I don't want to be the one speaking. I want my students talking and doing a lot, again, regardless of the age. So here's the agenda I'm covering today. I'm going to provide you some background of my research on Maker Ed. This idea of educators and learners being reflective practitioners, the need for if we're really serious about Maker Ed, we're going to reflect on it and document learning, and then the roles and responsibilities of the Maker educator. So some of the background, this is Adam Savage, and if you know him, he's the guy on the DIY channels, and I like this. He talks at maker fairs, and I really like this quote of his, and I'm not going to read it to you. I share all my resources. This SlideShare is available for everybody to view. I also believe we're really ripe for a perfect storm for maker education, and these are some of the occurrences, modern day occurrences, that it's making the perfect storm. And I actually created a ThingLink, and if you click on it, and again the resources are in the bottom of the slides, you'll see that it embeds lots of resources. So perfect storm, why is the maker movement's important, the do-it-yourself. We're in a really huge do-it-yourself. We live, and I love this idea, we're living in information access and information abundance, so that now information's not scarce, it's abundant and accessible. A lot of open source resources. The idea that we have affordable electronics and technologies, little bits, makey, even things such as copper tape and coin batteries and LEDs, focus on STEAM and STEM. And we know the Obama administration's pushing that, and crowdsourcing. Again, this resource is going to be available. Another bit of background is, and I use this to provide legitimacy to bringing Maker Ed into the classroom, because sometimes that term for the more traditional administrators and teachers are kind of a put off. So I just say it's STEM education. And this ThingLink are resources on bringing STEM in the classroom, so that you could couch it or frame it a little different if people are wondering what Maker Ed is. A lot of people know this idea of STEAM and STEM and STEAM is gaining more traction. I'm going to check Google Hangouts every so often. So if you have questions, you could put it in there. And I'd love if you tweet too, if there's something of interest you find at Global Maker Day, hashtag Global Maker Day. So when we talk about the educator, the mindset of an educator, I think first and foremost, and we'll revisit these roles a little later in the broadcast, is this idea of educator as a model learner. Because a lot of those ideas I shared in the Perfect Storm, now educators shouldn't be the experts anymore, but really show the process of learning. I've always promoted the importance of learning how to learn, not just what to learn. And too often, and I don't remember it happening when I was a through graduate student, this idea of the teacher showing and talking about and modeling his or her process as a model learner. And as we go through this, I think that's first and foremost the most important mindset we can have as an educator. So, and I also believe a lot of now maker education is getting promoted a lot with making little bits. And I think those tools are really important and could add a lot to a makerspace, but I don't believe that's all there is to making, and it takes on many forms. So I'm going to show you a video of just slides of, most of them are my students, both the elementary and the college students I work with a few just miscellaneous slides thrown through. And as you watch this, I'd like you to think about experience in your life that you were a maker. And I'm sure it happened from when you were a kid. I know when I was a kid, I used to do carnivals in my backyard out of cardboard boxes, and that's making. But again, I'm going to show the video and think about times that you, your family, your friends were makers. Shouldn't want to see the ad. All right, I hope this sparked some ideas for you in terms of, just closing some windows, in terms of what making is and how it could be important in the lives of, it is part of who we are as human. We're all makers. And when I look over the archive of these slides and I look at the slides, what I really am impressed by, even though I was the teacher of most of them, is the engagement. I mean, the looks on everyone's faces, from the kids to the adults, is they're in a flow, if you know about flow state, and they're excited, and when they share their projects, the pride. And I just feel very grateful that I get to be a witness to such magic, because it doesn't, everybody is a maker at heart. I could expand this because I can't see the chat anyhow. So part of this is why I wanted you to watch it, is this idea of looking at making from a cycle of learning. And that's, for me, part of the mindset and my experiential background. So you could see this is based on a lot of work, and there's a link that you could go see what I wrote about it. But I like this, again, I believe the importance of reflection, and John Dewey believes that learning occurs not through the experience, but through reflecting on the experience. So what I'd like you to do, and we have a few challenges today to honor, that's part of the interactivity of these presentations. As I go through the following reflection questions, pick an instance where you made something. Hopefully it sparks something from the video, and go through these questions and think about if the answers for you as you were making. And for me, it's based on, to assist learners in becoming reflective, one has to start with her or himself. So I just said, yeah, think about a time when you made something, to answer the following questions. First and foremost, did you play and have fun? I think that's a priority. I think we are innately wired to play and have fun, and somewhere along the line, too many adults have forgotten this. And when I see adults playing, it's as magical as when I see the kids playing. Were you resourceful in finding information, resources, and materials? For me, making is part, like you saw one of those slides was from pottery, and on the side, I've been making pottery for years, and it really has grounded me. And in terms of information, resources, and materials, I go to a community studio, and it's from there, there's 18-year-old high school students through retired seniors who are in the pottery studio. And it becomes this community of practice, community of learners, where people are sharing information with one another. Did you accept failure as part of the process and use it to inform your learning? I've been preparing lots of activities for my summer camps, and I always change them every summer. And I've been doing, like, for example, one of my camps is Cardboard Challenge. And I made a pinball machine as a prototype. I went to the local school to drum up business for the summer camp. And boy, did I have to struggle. And sometimes that failure is frustrating, but it provides me, I just accept it as part of the process. And it's pretty exciting, because if you look at life, school doesn't allow a lot of failure. You fail a test and you fail. It's not information that informs you. Did you approach learning as an open-ended process, open to new and all possibilities? I had to change the design of that pinball machine several times. If I kept trying to do the same old, it's if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always gotten. So sometimes it takes reflective breaks. That's, again, why reflection. What am I doing? Getting online, looking up how other people were doing it, so that I was open to changing the design and trying out new things. Did you either try to make something better, create something new, rather than just copy something that already exists? I believe making is adding part of yourself into the make. And I believe the idea of, some of the tools, they'll give you step-by-step directions. For example, I'm going to have the kids create this plexiglass gear mechanism that I found online. I'm cutting it out with laser cutters, and they're going to create these step by step, just following the directions. But then I have a pile of additional gears where they're going to just experiment with their own design. So it takes a little bit of scaffolding, but I want them to include themselves in the make, because that's what I think makes making so exciting. Did you ask other people for feedback and information to collaborate? Again, I don't believe classrooms should isolate kids. Social learning theory is powerful, and people learn so much. The example I use is a couple of years ago, I did a maker robotic prototyping workshop at the local children's museum. And I had 7-year-old twin girls, and I had a couple middle school 13-year-old boys, and everything in between. And these 7-year-old girls were pretty brilliant. And this one 7-year-old girl, when they were making their prototypes, she did this really cool mouth out of cardboard. And the 13-year-old boys got so excited that they went and asked her for information. And they basically copied what she did. And it was, again, this community of learners, allowing learners to interact and help each other and be both givers and takers in the making environment. Did you share your work and findings with others? This summer, I didn't do it last summer, but I believe in the importance, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes, of documenting learning and putting it out there. Again, the community of learners shouldn't just be in the local environment. Like this Global Maker Day, it's on social media, and I get so many ideas by what other educators share, that I believe one of the responsibilities of the 21st century educator is share. So, and some educators, I do teacher education too, say, oh, I don't have time. I said, then just take pictures and do a photo essay, and not only then will the kids and your students get to have an archive of their making, but then you could share that with other teachers. And did you learn something new? I believe that if every time we jump into something, a learning, that we should come out with something new. And again, that's where the reflective comes in. Then it becomes important to articulate. And here's a link to the blog I wrote about it, and all these put together. All right, just checking in. It's a lot of talking for me. All right, so I'm used to interactivity. So I hope if you watch this recording, you're interacting in your brain in some way. So I've been mentioned several times that documenting learning is important. And this is Sylvia Rosenthal Tolosano, and she's at Languages, and we both are very strong advocates of documenting learning. And I like this quote: documenting is more than staying organized or writing down what will be or was taught. Documenting is part of the learning process. So as you watch the following video, think about ways you would have these learners document their learning if they were your students. So I want to spark again. This is challenge number 2. How would you ask your students, what type of methods would you have them use to document their learning? So let me go to that video. This is a great little video from Allen Educators. They were at South by Southwest, and I'm really impressed with their work.
Middle school, and we are Allen Distinguished Educators.
In the Circuit Arcade project, you need to build an arcade game where winning or losing completes a circuit. Some of you are on like second prototype phase, like you have it, it's done, what can be improved? How are you gonna make your game look like something that kids are gonna wanna play?
Are we covering these in foil so it'll be easier for it to hit the battery?
We could, yeah.
when you're constructing and making things, you're experimenting, you're exploring, and you're also failing. You're going through and figuring pieces out.
Right. We need a ramp right there. We still have a lot of work to do then.
In making these games, we're learning about how these circuits work, and I can actually make a circuit on my own. Science was fine before this class, but science is my favorite class now.
Love that.
I would move that one to that side and that one to that side. Yeah. Who's got a battery I can borrow real quick? Patrick and I have a saying that if we're not scared, then it's not the right thing to do.
I've worked to create a classroom that I want to be a part of. We have fun and we laugh together and we do real work.
Look, Mr. Dempsey, we made it work. It's not working anymore. I swear it will.
How are you going to make those connections bigger so that it works?
No, we have to make them closer together because these are too far away. No, they're not too far. Yeah, they are too far.
Because the curiosity, because we let them play and gave them these skills, they will amaze you every time.
So,
It works. I got it, Mr. Dempsey. Oh.
nice. To cap it all off, we get to show the games to a gymnasium full of elementary kids. In life, we do our work for an audience. There's someone who's going to appreciate what you've made and what you've created. So we want our kids to experience that.
It's just a great experience to see how their eyes brighten up, to see that this magical cardboard box is lighting up.
It's a lot of fun with them actually playing the games and knowing that we actually made the game. I feel like I'm learning something new.
How does it work? There is a wire back here, and we just touch it to the battery. It'll make the lights light up.
So the 8th grader becomes the teacher to the elementary school student in order to explain circuits and explain how things work. This is science. This is project-based learning. This is all of these pieces wrapped up into an activity where they get to have fun.
All right. So what would be ways that you would ask those students, if they were your students, to document their learning? There's some standard ways. That's the one I just showed. You could have them talk about it. And when we say talk about it, they could do,
I think we definitely underestimate high school students. I think by setting high expectations for them, they can.
and that could occur through pair shares. You could have them talk about it through a presentation like I'm doing through YouTube. So there's a variety of ways that they can talk about it. For me, the key is giving them choice. So you don't have to have all students talk about it. And again, I'm going to add this piece to my summer workshops. I didn't do it with the kids last year, but I'm going to actually have them take photos and then reflect on their making project in a wiki. But again, they could write about it. They could blog about it. They could talk about it in a podcast, and we could embed that. They could sketch it. There's both by hand, and now there's a lot of iPad apps. They could sketch what their thinking processes were. They could take a photo or create a video about it. And they could use social media, tweet about it, Snapchat about it, Facebook about it, do an Instagram photo, and add some legends. And this is this is a overview of some of those methods done again by languages. As I mentioned, text, images, audio, and video. So adding that in, what's interesting to me about documenting learning is it becomes part of the process, but it also is another form of making, the way they're reflecting on it. So the final piece I'm going to discuss with you is what are the roles, attitudes, I did roles twice there, and ways of being in the classroom environment. So this is really getting into, for me, the meat of what it means to have a mindset of the major educator, because a lot of times the roles change it. When you're, like you saw those 2 middle school teachers, they weren't standing up in the front of the classroom as the more traditional, and how a lot of teachers get trained and there isn't the correct answers. They weren't given paper and pencil tests. So given that change in the teacher's role, what are the sub-roles that emerge from that? So I'm going to show you another video, and I want you to think about, it was a CNN video where Dale Daugherty visits, shows CNN a classroom where kids are making. And while you watch it, think about it, and you could use the one we just saw with the Allen educators. What roles do the teacher take on when they're become maker educators? And this is actually a popcorn video, and I don't know if you've heard of that. As you go through it, you're going to see that you can embed links right on top of the video. I always like to show little tricks of the trade. And they'll take you to further resources. I'll show you one just so you get an idea.
Being taught in every classroom. But I want it experienced. You know, it's not something you tell someone to innovate. It's like creativity. You don't tell people to be creative. You invite them to, you know, and you open.
Embed, it's going to stop. I just wanted to show you. So I added links to, so for me, making is also doing these thing links and doing things like this Mozilla popcorn. That's just a little aside.
The context for them to do that. Right. So it really resonates inside of them. You know, it's not something you impose on them.
Yeah. This is it. This is what you were talking about in the classroom.
This is a maker space in an educational setting. I call it Project Make. I worked with the local high school to give the opportunity for kids to make things. The basic idea is, what do you want to make?
Right.
Right.
You can feel the energy in here. Yeah. I mean, they just came right in and immediately got to work.
Right.
So let's take a look at some of the projects that they're working on. So as much as you can explain.
Sure. So this is something, these are maker kits that they built last semester. And run your hand over that one. So there's a sensor in there that's figuring out what you're doing and responding. Right?
It's pretty amazing. So,
yeah. So they soldered there was this board, and underneath they've soldered those connections. And
pretty good work, pretty good soldering.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a nice job.
And so, you know, these are kids that have never done that, have never figured this out, and they've just been given the opportunity to do that. This is a pilot program here for just proving, I think, in ways that kids want it.
What is it you're trying to make here?
We're making a solar lunchbox. Like, here's mine, which actually does have the solar panels on it.
Oh,
and so you'll basically just leave it out and it'll charge up this battery, which is going to be inside the lunchbox.
Oh.
And then from there, we're going to fit a USB adapter, so it'll be able to charge up an iPhone or an iPod or whatever. And then also you have the switch, so it could be a light if you need it. So it's just kind of like a prepared
survival
light source. Yeah, survival.
Yeah.
That's great. Had you done this kind of work before?
No, nothing like. I've always played with electricity, but just lighting up a light with a switch, nothing really this advanced. So it's a lot of fun.
Would you have learned this in your regular school or no?
No, definitely not in regular school. I mean, I never would have had this opportunity. So this has been really cool.
I got the idea off of a website I found called Indie Mogul. I got the blueprints and everything. Yeah, just.
There you go.
Have you ever done anything like that before?
Nope. It was the first time I ever did anything like this.
Why did you do it?
I'm a big Freddy Krueger fan, and I figured, oh, Halloween's coming. I should do something cool this year. So, like, this whole thing probably cost about $30.
Is that right?
In total.
Can I try it on?
Sure.
New kind of surgery?
That's right. So much faster now. You know, I gotta say, it's so exciting over there. I mean, the kids are just incredibly excited, aren't they?
Yeah, they're engaged and they're doing stuff. They're happy and they're working together. Right. How do we move it from, really, if we think of like the user experience of school, of sitting in chairs and listening to one person talk to everyone, how do we make classrooms interactive? How do we use technologies and stuff to really engage kids? And that's what I...
All right. So he alluded to this at the end of his talk about how do we make classrooms so that the kids are excited and engaged. And again, all the videos and all the photos I'm showing, hopefully you'll see this full engagement. And I talk about both in my elementary classrooms and my college classrooms, I don't have 100% engagement at all times, but I have close to it because of the interactivity and the hands-on and the openness to the projects. So I'll say, let's build a cardboard pinball machine this summer and give them some tips, but I'm totally open to them having their own designs. So what we do too much in school is expect the widget, I call it the widget mentality, where all the students are producing the same thing. The example I use is Thanksgiving, where the teacher gives all his or her first and second graders the patterns to the turkey, tells them what colors, you know, the wings are brown and the little thing under its chin is red, and has them trace it, and then they tape them on the wall and they all look exactly the same, maybe with the student's name in the middle. So for me, that's just, I don't know what purpose that serves. So I always go in with this openness of allowing the students to create what they're picturing in their head. So I don't ever have an expectation of products. I do have expectations of processes. So think about other roles that you could imagine, and I'll go over what I've come up with. And by the way, this was another video. It's been online. It's fantastic. I was going to show this instead of the CNN one, but this one, the bandwidth, it was too hard to get it to flow nicely. So this is my graphic, the educator as a maker educator. And again, you'll see the link on the bottom that you can access through the slide share that I explain all these. But these are the ones that I came up with that for me are pretty relevant and important as the educator as a maker educator. So the first one, as I've discussed, are you a lead learner? Do you model the processes of learning with your learners? And that was how I started off this, and for me, it's the most important thing. And students will ask me, learners will ask me, well, how do you do that? And I'll say, I don't know, let's find out together. And they'll, and then I can model how I find resources, how I share information, especially for the older students, high school, college, who haven't been given that freedom to flop around, and flopping around is good, and to be experimenting. So again, if I say, I teach teachers too, I say if you're always perfect in front of the classroom, that's the expectation, and you're modeling perfection, and that's not true to life. We need to model making mistakes, saying, I don't know, let's learn together, and then going from there. And one of the greatest sayings I've heard about being a professional is, it's not the amount of mistakes you make, is how you recover and explain that. So I have new teachers who get all bent out of shape when they make mistakes with their classrooms, and I say that's just a perfect opportunity to show them how you're learning and what you do to learn something that you're not familiar with. So I recommend that educators come into the classroom wanting to know and learn new skill, how to build that pinball machine, how to cook something, how to make something they haven't made, and work through it with the students so they can see the process of how the educator learns. The next one is, do you create a safe environment for your learners where they feel safe enough to take risks? So for me, I come from, again, experiential outdoor education, and that's key. For people to take risks, they have to feel like they're safe. They won't be ridiculed. They won't feel that they're less than. Too often we have created environments that where there's mistakes making, like on tests or papers, you feel less than. Think about a time that you got a bad grade and it's not a good feeling and there's no opportunity to correct it. So that safety is paramount. Do you give learners the time and resources to build personal relationships and PLNs, both face-to-face and online? Alan November, he's been talking technology way before it was popular. He believes that every kid should leave their classroom with a PLN. So for me, it's important that we help students find communities. Scratch is a great example. Last weekend was Scratch Day, where the kids have just made that community boom. And there's forums to ask questions and to find their tribes. And again, a lot of kids don't know how, so to give them the time and resources, I believe that's an important role. And again, that's related to, do you suggest and provide resources to help learners become independent with their projects? I love to share resources, and I believe the internet's been the universe's gift to me. It's just being a little funny there. But this idea of helping them find legitimate resources online and with people, but teaching them a little bit of media literacy so they do know how to search that out, so that in the future, my thing is to give kids skills that when they're not in school, they'll be able to use them at home. And contrary to popular belief, kids don't know how to find reliable and reputable resources online, so we can help them with that process. Do you help learners with assessing, developing, creating, revisiting, and revising? For me, this is process-oriented, so stopping and asking learners how they feel about things, letting them do self-assessments. So again, this idea that we need to be more focused on processes. And I find with my, especially my younger students, they like the end product, but there's a lot of times when they're done with a project, they're done with it. And they've really enjoyed the process. And I think we sometimes educate that out of our students, which really breaks my heart. Do you help learners learn about new technology? That's again related to that they do know online and they do know how to navigate, but they really don't all the neat Web 2.0 tools and apps that are out there. And when I taught the gifted kids, I would show them new Vokies and Google Docs and some of the book sharing. I would demonstrate those and then give them options for learning with those tools. Never forcing it on them, but showing them a lot of tools that they had never seen before. And I had a student once say, where do you know about all these cool tools? And it's, I think, again, a responsibility of the educator to stay current in that respect. Do you set up the conditions for learners to get feedback about their projects? I always do a go-around where learners talk. It's like a show and tell, and it's pretty exciting. They get to be, that I'm not their only audience. And this summer, again, I'm hoping to, with their documenting of learning and creating a wiki space, that then they'll get some more feedback from a more global audience. Do you help normalize ambiguous problem finding and solving of failure as iterative? And that's, for me, this idea that it's okay, that life presents to us a lot of ambiguous problems, and really normalizing that process again. I don't think that's done enough in schools. And my favorite, are you a tour guide of learning possibilities? Do you show learners some possibilities and then get out of their way? I've been saying this for years, this idea that too often in teachers wanting to be helpful, they actually prevent their learners from learning all they could. So I watch my 5, 6, 7-year-olds, my college students struggle with something, and I really, being a helper, that's what we do as teachers, I want to go over. But if I take away their struggle, I also take away their learning. So which one of these, my challenge for you in this? is which one of these roles do you want to focus on in your own teaching? So if I had an audience here, hopefully it was some of the recording, think about a goal that you could make in terms of, let me go back to it. Should be this next one. Which one of these do you say, I believe in it, but I don't do enough of it in my teaching environment? And which one would you like to focus on? And if we were to meet again in 2 months, I'd ask you on your progress. If you have colleagues, I would share that with them and have them pick one, because again, this idea of sharing makes it much more powerful. So I'm going to conclude with just sharing you some resources that I've created. This is, I didn't put the link. This is, I created my promises to my learner as a maker educator. And I would hope that most educators, I used to have my graduate students do promises to their students just in general, but I narrowed it down for me to be my promises to my learners as a maker educator. So I'm doing 2 workshops, which I'm very hands-on. This is way too much talking for me. I'm not a lecturer. So it's a lot of hands-on. We're going to do the reflective pieces, documenting learning at both ISTE. I'm doing a full day there and in a week and a half in EduTech in Australia. But this workshop also, I put in detail. I'm very transparent and love to share. So I put in detail the type of learning activities I'll be doing at the workshop. I created this maker education website on Weebly so that I have all the resources for my summer camps. You can see squishy circuits, LEDs. There are bots and bristle bots and wearables, and toy take-aparts. These are all resources for my summer camp. I do have an ebook where I've just composed all my blogs and graphics in one. And finally, I blog a lot about maker education. I've been a maker educator since I can remember. So I'm really excited about this movement now of bringing fun and engagement and hands-on experiential learning into the classroom. So I do a lot of blog posts. So I thank you for watching today. You can email me with any questions, JackieGerstein@gmail.com, and go out and make. That's my best advice to you. So thank you.
Hi, Dee. I'm here. So whenever you're ready to get started, you feel free to just go ahead and get started, and I'll stop screen sharing.
Okay, cool. I'm about a minute away.
Sure. Yeah, you got plenty of time. Feel free to just go ahead and get started, and I'll stop screen sharing.
Okay, cool. I'm just about
Okay,
about a minute away.
Sure. Yeah, you got plenty of time. Yeah, I heard a little bit of an echo, so.
I did too.
But not quite sure what that's coming from unless you have another window popped open.
I'm trying. You know what? I bet. Okay. I did too.
But not quite sure what that's coming from unless you have another window popped open.
I'm trying. You know what? I bet. Okay. I did too. Okay. Let's see if this echoes now.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if.
Yeah.
Let's see if this echoes now.
It's given
Okay.
That's weird. Oh,
There is a delay. If you're watching what other people are watching, there's about that long of a delay.
okay. I think I closed. There was something open that was, yeah, but it's okay now.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Okay, I'm ready when you are.
All right, Dee, you're live.
All right, great. I am so excited to be here. Let's see, there we go. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for joining me. My name is Dee Kimbrell, and I am an educational play specialist, which means I specialize in bringing play into the classroom because I believe that's the way that children learn, and I believe that's the way, actually I believe that's the way we all learn. And as long as there's a little bit of happiness and joy there, then you're connecting some good feelings with the learning, and it's going to stay there. So I'm very excited to be on this, and I'm going to see if I can share my screen and get my PowerPoint up. Oops, nope, that's not the right one. There we go. All right. So as I said, I am an educational play specialist and a teaching artist and a storyteller. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, and work in the surrounding areas and throughout the state. And actually some nationally now. So, and my website is www.creativegeniusinyou.com. Please visit there. I would love to hear from you. You can contact me through that website. You can find ideas for maker projects and ideas for classroom activities. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. So I also work with the Imagination Foundation as a chapter leader. The Imagination Foundation came to be after someone there discovered a little boy named Kane in California. And Kane had built an entire arcade out of cardboard at his dad's place of business. And the gentleman who started it went in, and he was a filmmaker. Nobody knew that at the time, but he went in just to buy I believe it was a part for his car, maybe a handle for the door handle, and saw this little boy's incredible creation and said, I've got to play. And so he did, and then he came back to asked the dad if he could film him, and the dad said, well, kind of the joke is that you've been his only customer. And he said, well, that is not going to be acceptable. So he got on social media and created just a firestorm. And so they picked a date and decided to do a surprise flash mob for this little boy. And through all of that, the foundation was formed. And the foundation's mission is to help children all over the globe to be more creative and to help them to develop those 21st century thinking skills using recycled materials and using cardboard, things that are accessible to anyone, anywhere. And every year on the date of the discovery of Kane, they have what they call the Global Cardboard Challenge. And if you don't know about it, please, I'll be posting the links afterwards on the landing or on the Google page. And but there are it's an incredible resource there on their site. So please visit there. I believe that experiential teaching is the way to get information into the classroom, into the children's minds, so that it sticks. If we can access all of their senses, then that is touching so many parts of the brain, and it is reaching different areas of the brain so that that information is not only stored in several different places, connections are made over different areas of the brain. So that information is literally wired in. These are a few examples. It can, experiential teaching can be messy. It can be exciting. It can be, it can really be inspiring, not only for the students, but for the teachers as well. I believe it is the way to go. So I'm also a recycled mural artist, and have begun this because of the project that I'm going to tell you about in just a little bit in more detail. But these are some of the projects that we have, that I've been involved with and facilitated in the Middle Tennessee area. I work with a group called VSA, which they work with, they are funded or backed through the part of the Kennedy Foundation. And they, VSA makes sure that the arts get to students who are at risk or have disabilities. And so the image on the top right is a mural that a group here in Hendersonville did, Hendersonville, Tennessee. It is the Sign Club, and they were deaf. It was a collaboration with a chiropractor's office in Nashville. And so we went in and interviewed the chiropractors and found out some things about their business, things that they liked. And one of the phrases that the woman kept repeating was, we just want to encourage people to live life to the fullest. And so we brought that information back, put our heads together, and came up with this image. So it's a big wave with actual sand from the beach on the mural, and then bottle caps to make the sunset and the wave. It's 3 feet by 8 feet, so it's quite tall, but a lot of fun and very wonderful for those kids to make. The image on your left is a litter mural. It's 2 panels actually, which the whole mural is 3 panels, and I'll show that to you a little bit later. But this mural was from Earth Day in Nashville, and was with I collaborated with a group in Nashville called the Turnip Green. They're a reuse center. If you are not aware of reuse centers, I encourage you to find one in your area. They're a wonderful resource for makers and teachers. So what I did with this, we recycled everything. We recycled those canvases. We used recycled cardboard, and to make the cityscape of Nashville. You can see the Batman building there on the right. And then I painted the background, attached the buildings, and then took the mural to Earth Day, and the public actually came by and added their contributions from litter that had been collected that day, and they attached it to the mural. The cool thing about this one was it was about a week after Prince had died, and it turned into a spontaneous Prince tribute. You can see at the very top of that, somebody wrote Prince RIP. And then I guess because I had used purple to indicate a night sky, they interpreted that as purple rain, and even added purple rain. And then on the final panel, somebody took some gloves and made a dove. So it was really cool to watch the creative process and how it all came together quite spontaneously. The image in the middle is a clouded leopard, and that was just completed by a group of high school students at Cone Alternative School in Nashville. And again, VSA was the sponsor of this, and it is going to be hung at the Nashville Zoo at Grassmere. And they are going to put that by their clouded leopard exhibit, and it's all recycled caps again. The same group the year before worked with the Predators, which is our Nashville hockey team, and we did their logo out of recycled bottle caps. So, and Smashville is what they call it. And that was a lot of fun for the students. We, you know, not only the creation and the design and the creation and the putting together of the mural, but also they got to go to a hockey game afterwards and present it at the hockey game. So that was really a lot of fun. So this is another way that you can reach out to your community. Another thing that I do is I'm a professional development facilitator, and just like my teaching of students, teaching of teachers is no different. I think we all learn by hands-on activities, and it doesn't matter what our age is. So when I teach, it is usually a very very fun and experiential experience for the teachers, so they can then go back and immediately begin to implement these activities and things with their own students. And so, you know, we go over what lessons to learn, and we learn from each other. It's a lot of fun. So my goal as a play specialist is to assist teachers to get in touch with their creativity through play, so they can facilitate that within their own students. And my definition of play is that focused attention that brings a sense of joy and purpose. And, you know, some people might call that being in the flow, being in the zone. I call it play. It's that when you can lose track of time, and because you're doing something you really enjoy, it is for me that time, because in that time you are so in the moment that you are connecting so many neural pathways that learning is going in at a very, very deep level. So that's what I strive to bring to the classroom and to my teaching. So let's take a little bit of history to kind of get us to where we are now in the classroom. In 2010, I came across a CEO study by IBM. They went to 400 CEOs around the world, and they asked them, what do you think is the most important attributes that you're going to be looking for in employees and in leaders in the next 10 years? And because things are changing so quickly, companies can no longer predict what it's going to look like. They can no longer predict what jobs are going to be there or what jobs are not going to be there. And so in this study, they said, well, we need people who are flexible. We need people who are critical thinkers. We need people who can collaborate. And most importantly, number one, we need people who are creative. That same year, Newsweek put out an article that talked about the creativity crisis in America. And so clearly we had a problem. And so teachers, schools began to try to reconfigure the classroom and teaching strategies And they said, we've got to be producing creative people if they're going to, you know, be a viable workforce once they graduate. Well, that's all fine, except that that's not the way we've been teaching for a very long time. We've been teaching to produce, you know, kind of a one right answer student. You know, you come up, you get the answer, and you're good to go. Well, that's not the way it is anymore, and you all know that. So it can be a problem. How many of you relate to this guy's face? Oh my goodness, the stress that teachers are under. I don't have to tell you that teachers, you know, what's happened is that you know, there's a problem, and now they've said, okay, teachers, you fix it. And at the same time, we're not going to give you a whole lot more time. In fact, you're going to have less time because you've got these tests that you've got to prepare students for. And so it's just over and over and over a lot of stress for teachers. And you know that, and I know that. And there's not funding for, you know, adequate funding for much of what they're asking for. And there are also added social emotional issues in these times with our students that we work with, and also in our own lives. You know, this is a busy time in the world, and it's very stressful. So what are we going to do about that? I began to ask myself, what can I do to help bring creativity to the classroom without adding to more work, without having teachers feel like, you know, it's just one more thing to add to their list. Something that's simple that they can slip into their classroom and can use in any subject, and something that doesn't cost a lot of money. So, oops, I went one ahead. So I decided to start looking into recycled materials and open-ended materials. So the definition of open-ended materials is that you can take anything. It could be open-ended if you're using it in a different way. So like cardboard tubes, or you know, sometimes they call them loose parts. This is where your recycling bin is very, very useful. You can raid your recycling bin for open-ended materials. You can go to your local reuse center and get open-ended materials. The benefits of open-ended materials is that, number one, usually they're free, because they're things that are typically going to end up in the landfill. And if you can use them in your teaching, so much the better. Everyone can collaborate and contribute. You can ask your students and your students' families to collaborate on this. You can ask community helpers to collaborate on this, and to collect and bring in open-ended and recycled materials. So open-ended materials, they open the door to divergent and critical thinking, which are those 21st century thinking skills that we're looking for. Open-ended materials are renewable because they are able, you know, if you mess something up, if you're working on a project and you're working with an old paper towel tube and you cut it too short, or you bend it and you just get another one. It relieves some of that stress of, you know, I have to have the right answer. I have to do this correctly. There's no room for mistake. It relieves that pressure. And then it also brings awareness to environmental issues in a very natural way. When a student has collected egg cartons from home and brought them in to put in your recycle bin there at school, or your open-ended materials box, they have a vested interest in learning about that. You know, then when you take that from them and you say, you know, that this, if it's say it's one of those styrofoam egg crates, you can say, you know, this doesn't break down very easily. Which do you think breaks down easier, a piece of cardboard, or this? And talk about that. And it's a way to educate them in a very natural way on how to care for their environment, and they'll be interested. So now we're going to do an armchair challenge. I wish I had some music. I guess I could do a drum roll. So you're going to have about 3 minutes. And what I want you to do is I want you to look around you and just with your imagination, draw a line around you about a foot in a circle all the way around, about a foot out. Now inside that, if you're like me, you've got quite a few things. I'm sitting at my desk and I've got my pencil cup, I've got my cup with my coffee in it, I've got my phone, I've got, you know, I've got a drawer in front of me that has all kinds of stuff in it. And what I want you to do is I want you to take a minute and design a face. And it can be a self-portrait. It can be a just a face. It could be, you could make a portrait of someone else if you would like. And set it up. You can set it up on a plain piece of paper. You can just set it up on, you know, on your desk. It can have a plain background. You can do the outline of the face. You could just do the features of the face. Whatever you want to do. There are no wrong answers to this. So I want you to go ahead. 1, 2, 3, go, and get started. And I'm going to be doing this too. When you have completed it, what I would like for you to do is take a picture of it and post it on social media. You can post it. My Twitter is @DKimbrell. You could email it to me. My email is dkimbrell@gmail. You can also hashtag Faces of Change and also include the hashtag for Global Maker Day, @Global Maker Day. You can make it your profile picture. Make it a new profile picture for Instagram or Facebook or your Twitter account. We need the Jeopardy music, don't we? So I can't wait to see what you've got. I am almost finished with mine. And I'm going to pop out of the, I'm going to pop out of my PowerPoint here and see. I think I am. There we go. All right, here's mine. Nope. Oh, it helps if I turn the camera around. There. Nope, there. All right, so there's mine, and I'm going to post it on Twitter. And I'm going to mark it Faces of Change because that's what you are. You are a face of change. If you are a teacher, you are creating change. See if I can type and talk at the same time. Probably not. At Global Maker Day. All right. All right, mine's posted. Let's see if we can switch to my Twitter account and I see one. There we go. Nice job. All right, great. See if I can get back now. So yeah, so how could you use that? How could you use that in the classroom? So afterwards, you know, that could be like a 5-minute thing to start your day off, and ask them to create a self-portrait on how they're feeling. It'd be a great way to kind of start off, if you've got younger ones, start off the day talking about their feelings. It kind of gives you a heads up on who's in a good mood, who's in a bad mood. It can open up conversation. You could also, if you have, you could also take a picture of it with older ones and then pass it to someone else and let it be a writing prompt. So there are many ways that you could use that, just as a very quick way to get some conversation started with open-ended materials. So I'm going to go back to, go back to my PowerPoint. Here we go. There. Okay. So thanks for playing. So I want to tell you a story now about a project that I did in 2014. I found myself in the throes of near burnout. And I was doing something that I call internet therapy. Some people call it getting lost on the internet. But I was just kind of cruising the internet, looking at images and looking at blogs. And I came across this blog where a teacher had created a bottle cap mural outside. I think she was in California. It was outside on their playground, and it was magnificent. I was mesmerized. I couldn't believe it. All of the learning that took place, you know, she blogged about that. She talked about how the kids were so involved, and they actually did the collecting and made the mural. And it got my wheels turning. I was hooked. I thought, I've got to do this. So I went to the administrator of the after-school facility that I was working with, and I proposed doing this project. And it just so happened that the director had just said that he wanted a project that would be that would involve the kids in the community. So we said, let's do this. So I began to do research. I just looked for images on the web. There are many bottle cap artists across the world that are making these beautiful images and using them in different ways. There was also, you'll see on the right, this image where it says Wasteland. During that time, I also saw this film, and it was a documentary about an artist named Vic Muniz, and I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But he went down to Rio de Janeiro, where he was from, and they have the largest landfill in the world. And there are actually people who live in the landfill and pick out the recycling materials, and they are called pickers. Well, these pickers, of course, are incredibly poor. And so what he did was he employed them to pick out certain items out of the landfill. They went to a very large facility where he could get on the second floor. It was this warehouse. And then he directed them using a laser pointer, directed them to lay out the trash to make images of them. And this picture is actually all trash. And so what he did was, once he had it all laid out, he and this is one of the pickers. It's that he took pictures of them first, and then he portrayed the picture with the trash in the warehouse. Then he took a photo of that, and then made prints of it and sold the prints. And then the money from that went back to the pickers. So he completely changed their lives. And I believe in a very small way, that's what happened with Children Are People. And I want to share with you now this short video of the story of Children Are People's bottle cap mural. And also afterwards, we'll come back and we'll talk about the learning that took place there. So we found out that Bottle Cap is quite a community connector. We had so many people to contribute. There were over 100,000 bottle caps collected for this project. And that was just kind of the, there was the community connection piece, the support there that was so wonderful. Here are some of the partners that we partnered with. Our local recycling facility was very instrumental. We partnered with Lowe's. They collected caps for us in their break room. They also, helped support us through, because we also did the Global Cardboard Challenge on that same day as a day, way to share out. And so they were very, very helpful, very wonderful. Starbucks was a great place to collect caps. Our hospital, both hospitals. Hair salons are wonderful places. We had high schools involved. We had pre-Ks involved. Purity Dairy is in our area. So we approached them and they were very helpful to give us some caps. Those were the only ones that we didn't have to wash. So we were grateful for those. Goodall Homes was the builder in the area that partnered with us, and they were super for became a team building process for them. So if you have a corporate sponsor at your school, I'd love to talk to you about that, because this is a great way for them to benefit also while benefiting the schools. Sunday school classes. There were just so many people who contributed. Over 26 local community partners. This is the kids when we went to the recycling center. They had lots of, they got to harvest their own caps, and they learned about recycling and what happens at the recycling center. There were math lessons learned. Once we decided that we were going to do it outside, we had this big blank wall outside. Then we had to start talking about scale and how we wanted this to be. And for these children, there was also just learning about measuring and estimating and discovering ways to get alternative answers. These pictures are because I just said, okay, let's pretend we don't have a tape measure. What are we going to do? And so, they started saying, well, we could count bricks. We could, and then somebody said, we could do our arm span. We could get everybody to stand side by side, and we could measure, how many people it takes. And I said, well, are they all the same size? And so it brought up the idea and the discussion about that units have to be the same size in order to get an accurate measurement. It was just that was a very exciting day as far as just watching the wheels turn. And then our older kids were more into the design. So they had the dimensions of the wall, and then I gave them Post-it notes, and they were able to decide how they would like for it to be laid out, and maybe what they wanted on the image. And they had to do it on a presentation board. They worked in teams, and then they had to present their idea to the rest of the group. Then the groups had to ask critical questions, and then they went back and redesigned. So it was a beautiful design process that happened during that. A little ways into the project, I realized that they were not quite understanding that we were going to have to make an image with basically dots. And because their suggestions were all a little too complicated. Because when you do a bottle cap mural, you kind of got to do a stylized kind of picture and break it down. So we had a lesson on pointillism, and excuse me, they went through we did all the kids, and they all benefited. They loved it. So we got our art in as well. During the summer, we had a 4-week summer session, and I wrote a curriculum for that for kindergarten through 8th grade. It was a STEAM curriculum: reduce, reuse, recycle, repeat. And each of those days, or all through those 4 weeks, these were some of the different things that were subject matter that was covered, and projects that happened throughout that 4-week period. Each week, the students they collaborated with a school-wide project. Week 1, they built a worm bed. Many of those students had never touched a worm before, and that was interesting. But they created it from scratch. They fed the worms the 4 weeks that we were there. They watched them to see what happened, to see how they naturally recycled. They also created a mascot, and I'll show you a picture of that in just a moment, out of recycled materials. Each class was in charge of a different body part. Week 2, they created an original dance to go with, there's a 3R song on YouTube, and 3Rs, reduce, reuse, recycle. And I'll spare you, I won't sing it. And then week 3, recycle, each student had to create an outfit from an old garment. So we pulled stuff from, they pulled stuff from home, and then they had to recreate it. And there were some really cool things that came out of that. Week 4, repeat. This is when they had to share it out. They had to go back and present it. And so one of the things, one of the challenges we presented was that the executive director sent out a kind of a faux newspaper saying that he had decided to turn the playground into a dump, and we put trash in the playground area. And so they had to persuade him not to do that, using the information they had learned about the benefits of recycling all throughout those last 4 weeks. Here are some of the projects. There's the recycling dude. That's what we ended up calling him, Recycle Dude. That was a lot of fun. And it was really cool to watch them work together to put, problem solve, to put this together. And then they wrote their wishes for the environment and stuffed them, you can see the color, I think, stuffed them into the bottles. And he was our mascot for the 4 weeks. We created images out of natural materials, out of leaves. They actually took pictures of these and made note cards and sold them at the fundraiser that year. They grew grass. This is a hat that I made that was the best social emotional tool that I had. When someone was when I caught them really participating, they got to wear the hat, and that was a big hit. There's the kids cleaning up the playground to keep it from being turned into a dump. So the mural is 8 feet by 12 feet. There are 12 colors in the palette, and approximately 8,000 caps and screws were used. We used stainless steel screws because it was going to be outside. You can use less expensive screws, but they will rust, and we didn't want that to ruin the mural because it was going to be outside. And I've already said there was over 100,000 bottle caps collected. Those are the remaining of them are in my garage. So yeah, I need to do lots of bottle cap projects, and I've been doing them. So there's a small overhanging roof that helps protect the bottle caps from the sunlight that the builders, the Goodall Homes, built for us, and they also lit it so that it could be seen at night. So I think the most important impact for the students was these are at-risk students, and they don't always feel a part of their community. And so to see the wide range of folks who came together to support them in this project, and then to come on the day of play, when we had the cardboard day of play and the mural reveal, we had a big crowd, and people from the community and families came. All of that support really made an impact on the students. Of course, they learned how they personally could affect the issue of plastic pollution, which is a huge issue in our world. Students were, I found students outside and family members and teachers outside standing out in front of the mural weeks afterwards. In fact, there was one woman who was kind of a gruff teacher, and she was standing outside, and I walked up beside her and I said, "Well, what do you think?" And she turned to me and she had tears in her eyes, and she said, "I think this is amazing. And I just want the kids to realize that just like these individual caps, they are also, they can be just one little cap, but when they work together, look what they can create." And she said, "I'm just so proud that they get to see this every day as they come into the building, and that lesson can be reinforced every day." So I thought that was really cool. So what can you do? Not everybody wants to make, have a huge project, and that's fine. So in your classroom, what can you do? You can start a maker's box so that you can have the open-ended materials ready to go in your classroom. Now this is showing, 8 of those large plastic containers. You can have one large plastic container, and you can have the materials inside there, and that's plenty for your class. These go a long way. So don't feel like it's got to take up a lot of room. Get your students involved. Get them to start collecting materials. Ask your families to collect materials. Post on Facebook or on Twitter or Instagram, on social media, to get your families involved, or so that they can feel a part of this. That was one of the things that I learned through this, is that people they want an excuse to recycle, and whenever they're doing it for their children or for their school, somehow gives them an added benefit. And so they really get excited about it. If you know, we still get people bringing in bottle caps, and our mural's been done for 2 years. Here's some more. You know, get kids to raid their old toys at home. Small little toys. You can use those for many, many things. And then the art supplies. Don't be afraid to ask your local Lowe's, your Home Depot, and look for a reuse center in your area. They're wonderful. Ours here in Nashville is it's by donation, so it's great for artists and teachers. I will post that list up also. So here is this. We're going to go really quickly through some large-scale projects and then some that you can use in your class. This is a project that I did in New York with the Aero conference, and every member of that conference created a self-portrait, and we called it the Faces of Change. So I love the way that it turned out. It was really sweet to watch these grown men come by, and because they would make it, I would take a picture of it and mark their name, take 2 pictures, one with their name and one of the picture, and then go back to my room at night, print them off, put them on the colored paper, and then hang them. Well, you know, I had grown men up there looking for their picture. It's very interesting, and I think it speaks to something that is very deep within us that wants to create, that wants to make. For your individual classroom, we've already talked about, do that with your students. Let them talk about emotions, and let them talk about, use it as a writing prompt. What would this person be saying? And try that. This was at our mini Makers Fair in Nashville, and we did not use screws this day. We used glue, and members of the community came by and created this mural. In your classroom, this was a math lesson, Fibonacci sequence right there, right there with the seashell. They did it hands-on. They created it with the bottle caps so that they could get a really good sense of that spiral. And then here's the final litter mural. It was 3 panels at Earth Day, and individually in your classroom, this guy right here was one of my favorite students. He came to me with a lot of issues, and he was obsessed with the Titanic. So I decided he could make, in his free time, a model of the Titanic. He was thrilled. It got him engaged in class. He was not a reader. He read every book he could get his hands on about the Titanic, and he worked on that project nearly daily for an entire school year. And it was at the end of the year, a newspaper, our local newspaper, came and did an article on him, which was really sweet. So that's the presentation. Again, and I'm going to go back and see if I've got any questions. Again, please contact me if you have any questions, or if you'd like to get in touch with me, creativegeniusinYou.com, and I will put that on my site as well. All right, let's see if I can get back to there we go. Okay. I am from, I've got a question. I am from Hendersonville, Tennessee, and I am I'm a teaching artist. I work with a school in Gallatin, the one that I just talked about. It's an after-school facility, and it's called Children Are People. All right, let's see if there's any others. All right. Well, I thank you. I think our time is just about up. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you have found some information that was useful to you and to your classroom. If you are looking for a large project, please contact me at creativegeniusandyou.com. And I hope that if you do use some of these ideas, I wish that you would please connect with me on Twitter at @dkimbrell and post what you've made with your classes. I'd love to see it. So thank you very much. Oh, and professional development, don't forget about that. Love that. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day. Just go out and make something. Don't be afraid of the chaos. Bye-bye.
I think this is
Should have gone on the green screen wall and it would have floated.
Do I need to?
No, we need people.
Destiny said yes.
Hello, Megan. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Hi there. Barry Willingham. There you are. Hello.
Hi. And I can barely hear you guys. I'm able to, but I had to turn it all the way up. So I don't know if you're by a mic or if we're just not close enough.
Okay, well, we're using an iPad here, so.
Okay. Okay, and you know what? Just now I kind of heard one of you guys talk at the same time, and what happened was it kind of bleeped both of you guys out. So just so you know, that is something that may happen with iPad. iPads are unpredictable. You know how that goes. And you're throwing in a Google Hangout, which is equally unpredictable, which we've learned all day. But thank you so much for sharing. We are so pumped to see what you guys are going to be talking about today.
Well, fantastic. We're glad to be here. And I'm on Terry now. There we go. This is going to be an experiment for us as well. So,
great.
Yeah. We're starting at the top of the hour, or are we good to go?
You guys want a few minutes to kind of get settled, and we'll go ahead and get started. We are live right now. We're live the whole day, but just know that you have a few minutes to get started, and just start whenever you're ready. I will be in the background, just so you know. you will not hear from me or see me, but if you need me, just let me know and I'll hop back on.
Sounds good. All right, cool.
Thank you.
All right.
Can you mute it while we're walking?
Let's see.
Although we could start. We could start there. You want to give them a short tour, or we got to kill like 40 minutes anyway.
All right, we could do that.
Hey, how are you doing? Good, good. Thank you for being here. So we're actually going to hold the event in there. We're going to kick off here with a short introduction into the Hive. I'll tell them what Gulf Coast Makers does, and then we'll going to go in there and start doing our hangout, playing with stuff and making stuff.
Just want to look around and see what kind of stuff.
No,
We've been. Is there a bathroom up here? She's wandering. Okay. Yeah, we're trying to write all these grant applications, and Jessica and I are just having a really hard time wrapping our heads around what we would do. Okay. So, all right. Well, kind of ideas. Very cool. Is it alright if I take a couple pictures? I work for the New Porchy Library. I'm not being creepy.
No, go for it. Please do.
Yeah, we're trying to do more stuff with 3D print. We have a 3D printer, and we're just trying to, like, we made a cat the other day. We were super jazzed about it. So.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I guess we can get started. I think so. Okay. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone out there in global
Maker Day.
Global Maker Day land. Do it this way. We're having some technical difficulties. We're using an iPad and trying to do a Google Hangout, which is going to be exciting, but we're going to try and make it work. My name is Megan Danick. I work for the Tampa Hillsborough County Public Library System. With me is Terry Willingham, who is with Eureka Factory and Gulf Coast Makers and makes cool maker stuff happen in the Tampa Bay area and throughout the state and beyond. So what we're going to try and do is take you on a little tour. Let me try it this way. Take you on a little tour of our makerspace here at the John F. Germany Public Library. We do have a makerspace called The Hive. It's a 10,000 square foot makerspace on the 3rd floor of our building. So we're going to take you on a quick tour and then show you what we're doing today for our reconstruction, deconstruction event. So it's very exciting. We're going to give it a whirl here. Also with us today, introduce. This is Tony Salvaggio. Hey.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
He's with eSmart Recycling. He's our partner for this great event. He's going to be doing a little bit of a deconstruction event with kids. It is about 3 o'clock here, so we're still waiting for a few more to arrive. But we are putting on a deconstruction event, and maybe, Tony, you can tell us a little bit about what we've got in store.
Correct. So we brought some electronics, and they're usually the type of electronics that you would see on your house or around your office. And the idea is to bring them for kids to take apart. We have a recycling company. We recycle computers and electronics in order to fund tech labs for kids who don't have access to technology in our communities and in developing countries. So we want to have kids take a look at, our regular DVDs or computers or, switches and see what's inside of them. Everything that we have here, it's no longer working, and it goes through a recycling process. But we think it's very cool that kids have a hands-on experience and see what's inside of these cool devices that we use every day.
It's awesome. And I first saw the deconstruction zone at the Gulf Coast MakerCon last April that we had here that Terry organized. The library's makerspace was also participating, and thought it was a really cool event that we could do in-house here and kind of expose more kids to that opportunity.
Thank you.
Of course, it's important to have deconstruction as part of a makerspace because it's important to take things apart and figure out how stuff works. We definitely want kids to have the hands-on exposure to that. I'm going to show you a little bit around the space and show you kind of what we do here and what we do offer here for kids and kids of all ages. So we'll do that real quick and then we'll end up over in the deconstruction zone and talk a little bit more. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
All right, so go ahead. We're going to try and take you on a tour here of the space. Hello, you're live in TV land. So because we are such a large space, we have a lot going on. One aspect of what we do have a recording studio space. We let people basically check out the space using their library card. As you can see, we've got a chroma key green screen, full editing station. So basically, again, we're giving access to folks who might not have this equipment at home to come in and make their own. We're really excited to be able to offer this, and it's something that we're also offering at some of our other library locations. We are a large library. Hillsborough County Public Libraries serves Hillsborough County, Florida, and we have another studio down south at our South Shore Library too. So it's been a very, very popular service. Continue on. We're going to go and talk a little bit again about putting things together. In addition to taking them apart, we have our sewing studio and our art studio. Let me go this way. So we do offer access to, I'm going to try and, I apologize for this being a little bit shaky, but we do offer a sewing studio. Again, we do classes for all ages. What's really awesome is that we've seen all generations come to the sewing classes that we offer. We've had families come, grandparents, parents and kids all together. A lot of the kids and guys are interested in cosplay. We've done cosplay workshops. It's been a really positive experience, again, showing people that making is all kinds of things. It's not just the high tech, it's also, you know, sewing and doing art projects and kind of taking it across disciplines. Let me see, there we go. I think we've got access here. So I'm going to continue walking. I hope I'm not making anyone motion sick by doing this. I'm going to continue around the bend into our little makerspace area where we're going to be doing the deconstruction zone. We do offer 3D printing here at the library, some of the more standard things that you've seen in makerspaces before, which are really awesome. 3D printing and robotics. Here is our center area where we do have our deconstruction zone. Hello, everybody. Welcome. So we'll take a look here at the table. We've got some of the cool stuff that Tony has brought, and we're going to start with the deconstruction in a little bit. But Tony, did you want to talk a little bit more about the program you got going here?
Yeah, of course. So a lot of people don't realize, but when it comes to to e-waste is the fastest growing waste stream in the entire country. Only less than 40% of the electronics get actually recycled. That means that between 60 to 70% are ending up in the landfill. And if it ends up in the landfill, what it means is that everything that's inside, through that decomposing process, it'll end up hurting the earth. It'll pass on through the landfill, it'll pass on through the earth, and what that means is that it's a lot of heavy metals and toxics that's inside the electronics that will eventually be consumed by the earth and the water. A lot of people don't realize it, but in one cell phone battery, one lithium-ion cell phone battery has enough toxins to pollute about 100,000 gallons of water. And in the United States alone, we're throwing away almost 200,000 computers every single day. So what we hope to achieve, even though our company doesn't take apart electronics in the way that we operate, what we're hoping to achieve is to show the kids all the cool things that are inside the electronics, and hopefully they'll get them to realize that we have a lot of very cool, parts, cool metals that shouldn't be ending up in the landfill. It shouldn't be polluting our water streams. And if we can share that message at a grassroots level, such as your community library, then we can hopefully get that message across. And what we do as a company is that we take it one step further, and all the proceeds that we get from the recycling aspect will go towards funding tech labs for kids who don't have access to technology here in our community and in developing countries as well. So it's a triple bottom line benefit. It's a win-win for everybody because we are protecting the environment, we're empowering kids, but we're also making money in the process. And having said that, we brought some very cool electronics around here for kids to take apart. And we have Aaron, and we have Ellie. You're Ellie, right? So we have Aaron, we have Ellie, who are going to take apart some neat stuff. And I know Aaron already called dibs on this big computer tower. So let's go. Let's start taking them apart. Ellie, you are more than welcome to come and take a look at what we have and pick one computer or one electronic that you see and just start doing it. So the first thing that we need is for you guys to put some goggles and just sometimes you get little pieces that will come flying out. So I'll open this up for you. It's a little bit dusty, but nothing too bad. And,
Okay, I'm sorry to jump in right now. Normally I'm in the background just watching, but I am so excited about what you guys are going to do right now. So great job. Okay, I'm going to leave again.
This is Global Maker Day, so it's teachers
so
and
we have that. We have the tools. You know where to start? Okay, so where we start is we start looking at the connector, right? And everything that connects, we want to unplug. And the way that this works is that if for some reason it gets difficult to get out, it's probably because we're missing a step. So we use a lot of logic.
Yeah, pointy David down.
After we unplug everything, we look at what are the different screws that are in here. And then with the screw, we'll find the right partner there, and then we'll start unscrewing. And then we go after every single screw. Got it? Cool. What about you, Allie? Do you want to take something apart? Do you want to take apart that keyboard? Yeah? Cool. So, keyboard works kind of the same way, right? All of the screws that you have on the keyboard come in the back. So, take a look at what screw you have, and then we find a screwdriver that will match it. You know what screwdriver you need in order to match this? Do you want me to help you? Okay, I'll help you. Makes some delay. You can start. I'm plugging. Yep, there you go.
Did he go straight from the motherboard?
Okay, so.
That's right. Super cool.
An interesting challenge.
Okay, so this is the one that we're going to use. And we're going to unscrew to the left all of the little screws. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. To the left. Lefty loose it. So when you have narrative going in the background, you usually have use your fingers, like here, right? It has little clips. So first, if this is in the way, you just like.
I was gonna say, if you turn it around a little bit so people can see what's going on here, that would be great. Because there's a lot of And so this is an activity we've done at our Maker Festival every year. Tony brings in all these cast-off materials, and the opportunity for the kids, and he's told you some of this already, the opportunity for kids to hold on to tools, to use them, and not worry about breaking something because it's already broken is really valuable. And we're going to try and turn some of these things around so you can see them better. But there's a lot of cool stuff in here, and lots of times people use things and become very, I guess, inured to what goes on in them and what these things are about. We take it for granted, and this is a really good way to get a better understanding our electronics, and so they're not a mystery to kids.
Sometimes, you know, we can, like here, see, there it is.
You got it.
Right here.
Wow. We need something to put the screws in, don't we?
The screw they're holding in.
Something to put screws in?
Yay!
She got it.
That is very cool.
There. And then we can even learn about all sorts of things, like whether that's a flathead screw or Phillips, all sorts of stuff. Good job. And so to do this as an educational activity, you just need a really good partner like Tony, and find your local e-waste recycling company and talk to them about it. There's a lot of curricular material that goes along with these kinds of things that you can develop on your own, and that already exists, and some willing kids. And it's just a really cool activity. Also, you can also take these things in and repurpose them and reuse them for other activities and things to rebuild from the parts you take apart. And I think we might have some stuff around here like that. Look at that. And I like the goggles, using the goggles over standard safety glasses. Those are
I know, right?
a lot more comfortable and they're a lot easier to use. So do you take stuff apart at home?
Okay, so
Yeah, are you supposed to take stuff apart at home?
we can.
Oh, good.
What
do you take apart at home?
So it will usually give you a
All
hand.
kinds of stuff?
If you look at
Yeah, you're pretty good with that screwdriver.
Okay, so try pushing it, and then with one hand you push it, and with the other hand you pull it.
So we're going to come over here a little bit so you can see what's inside of this here. Can you give them a short tour, Tony, of some of the stuff that's going on inside there? And what is this? What was this? This was just a standard.
Correct. So this is just a regular PC tower, and what Aaron is doing is he's taking off the power supply. Cool thing about taking apart a computer is that, believe it or not, it will teach you a lot of problem-solving skills. And it will teach you problem-solving skills because all the parts are very easy to take out. So if when you're taking them out, something happens and you can't take it out, it's because there's a step of the process that you're not doing first. For example, Aaron here is stuck in a little wire that's there, but it has to be easy, right? So if we take this green cover out, if we take it out, then it'll give you access to that way faster. And it's clip-on, see? So the moment you realize that, for example, there's one step that you need to take before you do that, I mean, that's problem-solving skills right there. And you took the power supply. Now, power supply like this is full of copper, and inside this it's an electric motor. So these are the type of things that are literally ending up in the land. These are literally the type of things that are polluting our waters and polluting our soil. So once we have this, we'll put it. Can you put it on that bin right there, and you just let it. That one, right there. Yep, there you go. Just drop it there. Thank you, Aaron. So we took the power supply, and what we're going to do is we're probably going to keep taking apart all this stuff until we get to the motherboard. But before we get to the motherboard, we need to, take the fan cooler or take the heat sink, and then unscrew the whole actual board from the frame. So, do you want to start figuring out how to take off the heat sink? Okay. Notice that the green items are the ones that are telling you where to go next. So those are little clips that you probably need to take out. What are we doing here, Ellie? So Allie here is taking apart a keyboard. And she is on her 4th screwdriver now.
But I'm doing this one because this one's stuck.
Okay. Perfect. So this is a heat sink. You know what a heat sink does? So a heat sink, it dissipates the heat. So the processor that you see here gets really, really hot. And what this does is that, see how it's facing this little fan? So the fan will cool the heat. The heat will go all the way through here. This is copper, and this is aluminum. So the heat will go through the copper, and it goes all the way through here, so it stops being hot and becomes cooler. And the fan here is what keeps this from overheating. That's kind of like when you overheat your car. If the motor overheats, then you don't have any car. This is what's going to help this from overheating. This is the equivalent of the motor, which is the processor. So do you want to take the processor out?
That's kind of challenging, isn't it?
So if you look at the processor, you'll see there's a little lever right here. Okay, so push it and try to open it. So you have to push it and put it and move it right to your right. With your thumb. There you go. Perfect. Open it up. Pick it up.
That's cool. You want to show everybody? You want to show what it is? Look at that. It's on the other side. That's neat.
So this is the processor. This is like the engine of the car, right? And this is gold. So you have a lot of precious metals, right?
How much gold is in something like that? So when people turn it in, it's not a huge amount, right? But it's, yeah.
It's really not that much.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when it gets to the point where it's too old, for example, this one is very old.
Mm-hmm.
You have, at a bigger scale, you have people that would probably buy, you know, boxes full of these.
Mm-hmm.
You know, keep in mind that this is not even an ounce.
Right.
So people that buy them, they buy, you know, boxes that are like 1,000 pounds. And at that point, these are worth money. These are worth like probably anywhere between $2 to $14 a pound. So if you have 1,000 pounds, you have $14,000.
Oh, there's math.
There you go. So this is another. Okay, so we are working our way through the motherboard, right? Then we have to take this apart. We have to take it out. But you can tell that this one doesn't have any screws, so it's like little clips, right? So we need to unhook all of these clips. We probably need a flat screwdriver, something like this, maybe. That we can use kind of. There you go. That's it. Just came apart. This is the fan cooler. Just like a little fan. And it gets so dirty with dust because of all the dust that's out. You know? And usually, like when you have a computer, you usually have it. So, okay, so I'm gonna help you with this one. Taking this one out because it can be a little. Okay, so once this out, it gives us kind of a clear area to get to the board. So these are Phillips. We need to go through these with a Phillips screwdriver, and this you might be able to use this guy right here.
Well, that's a cool tool.
I know, it is very cool.
So what kind of tools would someone need, or a school or a group need to do something like this? It looks like it's pretty basic.
It is pretty basic. It's your just a couple of different screwdriver sizes, honestly.
Yeah.
Most of them are either Phillips or flatheads, and nothing more than that. Sometimes you'll get specific screwdrivers that might need how you call this?
What the, oh, the I can't even think of the name of it now myself. Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need another one here, and then all of these in the corner.
Whatever that mystery item is. Yes, we'll remember it like after we're done. Pretty cool. And how are you doing over there?
That's great.
Yes.
You want to do this one?
That's awesome.
Did you get them all? Yeah, we did. So now we try. There you go. Perfect. Great job. Okay, so we need to take these two. And you can take all these to the bin. So we can mix them up.
Wow, you emptied it out. So does everything on a tower like that get used? Or scrap? Is there anything on there that can't be recycled or?
Everything there is recycled. Okay. It's 99.5% of everything that's in usually in a computer tower can be recycled.
Wow.
So here we use both hands.
Okay, so if you go home and your computer's all taken apart now, you'll know. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm helping you because
Yeah, look at all that. And the keyboard's apparently fighting back.
Yeah, keyboard is.
The keyboards typically do, and when we do the events, when we've done them before, the keyboards have always been the ones that have been the most challenging to take apart, but really interesting once you get inside of them.
All right. Really fun to turn it into other stuff.
If I can, I want to put it in front of the camera here in a minute.
The reason why is because they don't,
There we go.
A lot of the items, especially something as inexpensive as a keyboard, they're really not made to be, on one hand, they're not made to be repaired.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, they usually never go bad. And once it goes bad, it's easier to just replace it.
Right.
But Ellie here took it all apart.
Let's see what's in there. Like my
Have you ever seen the inside the keyboard? There you go.
What's in there?
Okay, buddy.
What is all that? What is that?
You killed it.
Look at that.
There's one right there. Yeah, you can.
What do you see in there? There's a lot of cool stuff in there. What's that? Look at that. When people talk about flexible circuits, it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So this is like a circuit board. Just like that.
Mhm. Every time you type, you're making connections, right? You're closing off.
Exactly. Closing off the circuit. You look at these are all the letters.
Tiny little suction cups. It seems like there's so much you could do with these things.
I know.
These are all rubber or silicone, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the actual word. So you know how you know how to spell your name, right? Yeah. You're gonna take the letters from your name part, take it out. So you might need to do this.
There we are. And we did it. That's nice.
Thank you. And then all the letters.
There we go.
Okay, great. So even this, right? This is a wire. This is a ribbon wire. So this inside has copper too.
Are those, whoa, there goes a letter. Are those letters in the right order? Not quite the ABCs, is it?
So let's get this.
And actually, even as we're sitting here doing it, I'm thinking of all these new applications because I hadn't thought about things like, you know, the alphabet and the letters and the flat circuits. And
You want to take apart something else there? Yeah. Okay. You can choose whatever you want. Can you help me put all those in all of them again?
Cool.
Is there an X in your name?
There's no X in your name? Okay.
What do you want to take apart next? Do you want to take apart one of those little computers?
What can you do with all those buttons, all those letters off that keyboard?
Well,
Can you do anything with them? What do you think?
That's when the creativity kicks in, right?
Where's the artist?
Yeah. We have one right here.
Okay, here we go. We need to do some found object art. And I think just the sheer there's plenty of academic reasons for doing this, but I think just the sheer fun of taking things apart is very soothing. It's fun. I did it as a kid. I took things apart, and it was so much fun to just sit there and not have to worry about anything except just taking stuff apart.
Yeah, it's definitely
It's therapeutic.
zen.
Yeah.
You know, just get in the zone and start doing it.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, like you said, I mean, you can use, like, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen an entire wall covered with this.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, it does take a lot of time, but if you...
It's a mosaic. It's a type of mosaic. Whoa, that one went really far. You can also play tiddlywinks with them, apparently. Very cool.
But it's all about, you know, somebody's trash is, you know, one minister's trash. I mean, we recycle hundreds and hundreds of those.
Wow.
So you get in the hands of an artist, and all these letters are not plastic letters that need to be melted.
Right.
They are something else, right?
Right. These things go pretty far.
Okay, so let's see.
And so what are you taking apart over here now, Aaron?
So what we're taking apart is a smaller version of a computer tower.
Okay.
So these are a different type of screw. This one's right here. So you have to match this one with what we have there available. So how do you spell your name, Ellie? Oh, okay. So,
Don't have enough L's, but still.
yeah, we have another one. Right
Oh, you do, because you took some apart. Okay. Let me see. Let's see.
E, L. You want to finish your name up? Okay. Okay, so let's find the missing L, the missing I, and I'll do the missing E. send you. Let's see if we can rig this.
All right. That one looks like it's a little harder to take apart than the big one was.
Well, it's just that we need a specific type of screw, which we don't have.
And that happens.
Yeah, it's a little star.
What do you think are for schools doing this? What would be the easiest type of equipment to take apart? It'd probably be the keyboard, right? And standard towers.
Correct. Keyboard, even hard drives are fairly easy to take apart.
Okay.
You know what we can do? Since we don't have the tool and we can get it, do you want to take any of those two apart? Yeah. Okay.
What is that? Is that another DVD or is that a? Oh, that's a data link thing. There you go.
Huh?
Do I have to take off the buttons apart?
No, you don't have to.
You ready to take apart something else? Yeah. Oh, okay. She's ready.
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah. What does it read right here?
Is that your name? No. You could make a necklace out of that too. That'd be cool. Yeah, it is.
Hey, spell your name. You gonna give it to your mommy?
And I think we structure learning a lot, obviously, you know, and this type of an activity, you know, allows the learning, I think, to happen more organically. It's an opportunity for discovery on your own, which is nice. What this? She's going for a big thing. Is that your sister or your brother? Is that your sister? Hi. How are you? Okay, obviously if you have someone that small, you want to be careful with the really tiny things. I'll put in the safety warning. And that's the nice thing about having it up on a place like this too. You don't want to do this on the floor. You want to do this up on a table. No. Yeah.
Okay, so
This is cool.
Oh, is that what that is? Yeah. Is that one of those card swipers? Oh, that's cool.
Hey, you want to wear some glasses?
Oh, that would look awesome.
there you go.
Whoa, safety kid.
Chuck, is this one it's a little heavier?
Look at that fine tool handling skill.
I know, like a little surgeon.
Well, actually, there's a lot of kids that don't know how to hold screwdrivers. I mean, you know, it's a big thing. People don't. I know, but
she said that she did, but she did not.
She said she takes things apart. She didn't say she unscrewed things. She takes things apart.
And I guess that's true. I was like, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, we just got it.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so cute. I got it.
She's like a pro. But the thing is, even just handling tools is a skill set. It's something you need to be able to do. You don't want to be afraid of tools, especially when you're talking about girls. You don't want girls to be afraid of tools. So you want to be able to handle them, be comfortable with them, pick up a screwdriver and say, I've done this before and I know what I'm doing. And if you're her age and can do that, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You're doing a really good job.
She really is. She's got that little fine going. Good for fine motor skills, you know.
Do you know if the folks from the airline have like a little charger?
I think Megan's got one over there too.
She looks so funny.
He's like,
her
what?
goggles and her binky.
Okay, here's our young maker. Wait, there we go. Hang on. I take this delay. There's a young maker. Looks good. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's you, Eve?
Yeah, there she is up there. Okay, now there's you. And now she's not going to take anything apart because she just discovered herself on the screen.
I know.
There.
There we go. Like her own YouTube channel.
And then Aaron's just going to town. He's almost got he got one panel off of that, one part of it off.
At least it's a clear binky.
Yeah, I know. It looks really sharp. I got it. It's actually really cool. It's actually, you're like a meeting waiting to happen.
I know.
I know.
Oh wait, no,
she looked good. Yeah. Oh, you look good. It's like an accountant. Right. You look awesome. What do you think? What's going on? Why are you doing
Why are you taking a picture?
Oh, wow. There you go. What is in that side of that one?
Do you guys have like an Instagram thing? Do you post it?
If I ever used to use Instagram,
Yeah.
I keep forgetting I have.
Do
But yeah, it
you-
is
do you
actually
post
posted.
stuff
It's
to-
posting on Gulf Coast Makers Twitter account.
Oh.
And actually, you can probably get a kick out of it. Oh, maybe I have it here.
Oh, you can? Okay, I'll help you.
Oh yeah.
To the other way. To the left. Okay, I'll help
Oh, that's cute.
That's being broadcast from someone else.
Yeah.
Cool.
What is it fucking?
Okay, so
Oh, so we can pick up on
those two.
Oh, that's good. Oh.
You want to say just reshare?
Oh, make sure to tag me. So
Yeah, I have.
sure.
Yeah. Wow.
What is
So
this on Twitter? I gotta write
we're
it.
on Gulf Coast Makers.
Gulf Coast.
And then it's just Gulf Coast.
Okay.
Wow, you've got it apart. Now there's not much in there. So when you do these for your company, these get taken apart in your shop as well and then distributed out, or
So we actually don't take apart.
Okay.
Everything that we get, we would sort.
Mhm.
We would see what's working and what's not working.
Mhm.
And we have what we call downstream partners that are here in the U.S.
Mhm.
that will take everything apart here.
Okay, very cool. So if people are watching from other areas and they want to do something this in the community, is there a pretty good chance if they connected with their e-waste company nearby or something, they could probably work with them to do something similar? Or
Yeah, definitely. And if not an e-waste, you'll be surprised, but there are a lot of computer repair,
Okay.
IT guys.
Yeah, I don't know if you could all hear that, but other options if you can't connect with a local e-waste recycling company are computer repair companies and things like that. So, you can go up to them, talk to them, tell them that you'd like to do some of this. If you can get somebody from the company like Tony to come out who knows what's inside of the things, that's an extra plus. But it's a really great way to take things apart, understand what's going on in there. Look at, if you look at especially the board that he's got here, there's a lot of different things on there, which are really cool and easy to talk about for folks. So, and then we also work with some like electronic hobby electronics folks, and they will actually reuse some of those components as well, because there's a lot you can take out of there to reuse.
Without a doubt. You would be surprised. Even people that are fixing boards, they will get the little what's the name that I'm looking for?
Capacitors or
The little
something? Capacitors, yeah.
correct. So they will take the little capacitors and they'll repurpose the capacitor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Good job.
we throw a lot out. If we can use it to learn from and to repurpose, I think this is a great way to do it, and we're really happy with this partnership. You know, this is actually one of the favorite activity for a lot of kids, and we get older people that come and want to do it too, just because it's fun to do.
You know, and it's always good to have like folks like you guys, you know, Gulf Coast and Eureka that are willing to go outside of the comfort zone and look for people that will be able to help and to get involved.
Right.
So, you know, if there are folks listening in other parts of the country and there are initiatives in their respective, you know, communities or cities, you want to endorse them. You want to encourage that ecosystem.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. The collaborative partnerships are really important, especially when you're talking about maker education. You know, we tend to look for standard things, for curricula, for prepackaged things, and a lot of our strongest assets are right there in our community, learning from one another and working with different companies. So I think it's just a really win-win, especially if you start working with older kids. It's a way to maybe provide avenues for internships and apprenticeships. So having these types of relationships and collaborative partnerships is really important for any type of maker education initiative.
Good job. To the left. Always to the left. Remember that it usually has to be you know, easy, right? Usually, not always, but Lefty Lucy. Yeah. Can't do it? Hold on.
And the nice thing is you can always beat on things when you're doing this. If they don't come apart gently, you don't have to worry about it. You can use a little brute force. Brute force has its place too when you're working with stuff. Okay, so.
There's one little point here. Do you figure out how to take it up? How you take it apart? So what you do here, see the trick when you're unscrewing is that you want to push down. When you push down, you turn. Okay? Push down. There you go. Push down, turn. Perfect. Cool. Very good job. Very, very good job.
I am pushing down, but it's not going and pushing down.
Let me see. Which one are you doing?
It's going and pushing down.
Okay, let's see. See, so when you push, you have to make sure that when you're pushing, it's like it's in the right spot, right? So if you're pushing down, see how it turns? Try this one. Make sure it's in the right spot. Push down. There you go. See?
So we're only working with a couple children today in the makerspace, and when we do this with larger groups, we tend to have volunteers to come in. I think we had like 3 volunteers for 10 to 15 kids, and that way you can work around the room and work with them at their spaces a lot better. But it's obviously a passive kind of thing. You don't need to do much unless they're asking for help and unless you want to point out certain things. You could have special events where you're specifically looking for certain kinds of elements within the things you're taking apart, or harvesting different things, looking at different screws, trying out different tools. So you can focus this activity in any number of ways. We're going to be wrapping it up here in a couple minutes. If anybody has any questions, pop them up there for us. Otherwise, we're happy to answer questions. You can, tweet at us at Gulf Coast Makers, or email us. All our information will be on with the group there. And many thanks to our demo family for being here today. I think they just sort of walked into that. Yeah. Thank you to Aaron and Ellie. And what is your name over here? Eve. Oh, we had Aaron and Ellie and Eve. So we're really grateful for them for hanging out for us and being willing Google Hangout partners.
Those are little processors. Those are little processors. All of these are parts of the board that are connected to each other. You want to do these ones. We have here. Make sure there's not a screw there missing. Because sometimes, and sometimes if you're ever taken apart like stuff, and for some reason it looks like a screw is there, but you can't see it, sometimes they will hide under the stickers. So a good trick is to grab a sharp thing and go and see if there's a hole and you discover.
Especially ones that say
like warranty or something like that. Yeah. Like the hard drive. Yeah. You want to try to see if you can do it? That's pretty cool, right? Pretty sure. See those screws there? We have like 3 screws. And you know what's a lot of these machines, they come with an expiration date. See the expiration date? The 46th week of the year 2010. So they will automatically stop working.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it? What is
it's
that part?
Card processing machine.
That's cool.
Yeah. A lot of them come with an embedded expiration date.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
good job.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here, and we're going to keep playing, but we're going to wrap up our Hangout session. Again, if you have any questions, tweet us at Gulf Coast Makers, pass the questions along the Global Maker Day, and we will be glad to answer and help out, help you connect with folks in your area. If you have any questions about anything, let us know. Keep making, have fun. Thank you to our wonderful family. We're going to circle around so you can see them and say goodbye. There's Aaron, wave. You want to wave? All right. Ellie, you want to wave?
All right. Ellie, all right. Want to say goodbye? Just wave. There you go. All right, thank you. And we're coming out here to see Megan, and Megan's going to say goodbye. All right.
Thank you so much for visiting the Hive. We're really excited to host this event today. And, you know, it's an easy thing to do. Get involved, reach out to your community, find partners. That's how we have run so many of our programs, thanks to wonderful partners. So visit us at thehive@hcplc.org. Thanks. All right. And goodbye, everyone.
You're still talking. I love it. It wasn't bad for our first try. Found a tiny little washboard instrument.